Mr. V. Vaidyanathan, Managing Director and CEO of IDFC First Bank, joins us now. Let's understand from him that what has prompted Mr. Vaidyanathan to sell his shares to GQG Partners and what is the way forward now for IDFC First Bank. Mr. Vaidyanathan, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Very interesting. Now, market perceives that when promoters are selling out, it means that they feel that the stock is richly priced, or they feel that the franchise value has lived up to its expectations. But that is not the case in IDFC First Bank. So what has prompted you to sell your personal stake to GQG Partners?
First of all, thanks for asking that question. It gives me an opportunity to clarify. The thing is that you should just, very important to note that this is two legs to the transaction. So you don't note only the sell portion. The entire proceeds of 478 crores is being used to purchase options of the bank, exercise the options of the bank, and I'm paying 229 crores back to the bank itself. Number two, I'm paying tax of rupees 240 crores. Number three, there are some committed courses that I have for which I'm contributing 9.2 crores. So just want to tell you that first of all, I'm not selling out. It's coming back for reinvestment in the bank because these are options issued to me at an earlier stage at a lower price.
So what will be your holding once the option gets converted back into equity?
So currently, my direct shareholding and holding in a trust. I also run a social trust which has 50.9 lakh shares of the bank. That's a social trust. So, including that and including my direct holding, as of June 30, it was 0.58%. After this transaction, it will increase to 1.04%. So, effectively, think of it that this transaction is actually increasing my holding, and that's important to note. And including the options yet to be converted, my holding will be 1.23% in the bank.
Right. And whether this it or GQG would be upping stake further in the due course?
No, that I can't talk for. No, that I can't talk for from them, and I have no indication from them.
Sure.
But they had already bought close to like 3.9 or 4%, something like that, in that zone. And together with this, they'll probably go to around 4.7%. That's my understanding. They can talk for themselves.
But your choice of GQG, I mean, this is something which you decided. So why have you decided GQG as the preferred entity where you would like to sell your stake?
No, it's not my decision. When you sell stake, you actually appoint a banker and a broker, and they find the party. But the GQG as such is a $104 billion global fund, and they are really a very premier institutions. They've invested in HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, ITC, JSW. So they have a really good track record of investing in top quality names. And recently they were in news for another large investment. So basically they are a large global. For us, it's a matter of huge privilege for our bank that such a large, well-reputed institution. By the way, they're a very long-only fund. They're not a private equity firm. They have no exit. They don't have a mandated date exit, etc. So the long fund. So for us, it's a big privilege that someone like them has believed in the business model and has bought a stake in the bank.
Vaidyanathan, if I look at IDFC First Bank, you've built a built-to-last franchise from an unknown brand to an unforgettable franchise. But somewhere, if I look at the ownership, your personal ownership in the bank, it is less than 5%. So in coming months, quarters, years, can I assume that you would be inclined to increase your stake because the franchise is doing so well, the bank is doing so well?
I can't say.
I missed the last part.
Sorry, repeat the last question again.
No, my last part is that you build an enviable franchise, our unknown brand.
I got the question.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, now I remember the question. Yeah.
Okay.
So whether I will increase in stake, that's the point you're asking.
I mean, the bank is doing so well. If I look at what, let's say, other bankers who've created such parallel franchises, their ownerships in personal capacity is much larger than what you have.
This happens. If you remember, in Capital First, I had a substantial stake. But with continuous raising equity by merging with IDFC Bank, then with continuous raising equity. So this is a normal part of life for any first generation person. So I don't think I'll be selling anything else for a long time to come now from here on. Because I have, so let me leave it.
One last.
But there's no plan. The short point is there's no plan to sell any more stock. This was for a specific purpose of paying tax and for investing in the bank. So there's no other plan.
Okay. And final question. I'll just jump the mandate here. You've positively surprised everyone for 7 quarters on the trot now. Are we in for another positive surprise for the 8th quarter?
No, I cannot. No, be very careful because now the last month of the quarter, so I will not make any comments about the bank. The bank, generally speaking, is doing well, and quarters are always quarters. We look very long. I really request everybody to think about the bank in the long run. Even in the toughest of times, in the early stage of the bank, we never compromised on thinking long. So we will continue to think long. I can't comment quarter on quarter, etc.
Appreciate your time. So glad you could join us.
Thanks so much, Nikunj and Aisha and everybody for this call.
Well, there you go. The entire proceeds of 500 crore will be used to purchase options for the bank. His holding in the bank actually will go up to 1%. I didn't know that his holding in the bank was actually less than 1%. It's only when you look at the data you realize that. There's so many parallels.
I really would have imagined it would be much higher.
I also thought as
much.
But over the years, it gets diluted. See, you got 2 parallels here. One, you got Kotak Mahindra Bank, where Mr. Kotak's holding is one of the highest as at individual capacity and what other banks have. Then you got Mr. Parekh. Over the years, he never participated in the fundraising. The bank needed capital. His holding is actually less than 1%.
Yeah.
I mean, for a man who built world's 4th largest bank and in a matter of less than 30 years, and HDFC Bank and HDFC Limited combined less than 40 years actually, his ownership is actually less than 1%. So you got really HDFC Bank run by professionals completely, ICICI Bank run by professionals completely. That's not the story when it comes to RBL. That's not the story when it comes to Kotak Mahindra Bank. So it's very interesting what the Indian financial sector per se actually has seen. I mean, you look at the new age banks now, AU, or for that matter, Bandhan, or for that matter, even which are the other ones? All the small banks have recently gone for RBL. The promoter holding by default is very high. Yeah. And that is something which is very different than what the big banks have. The only exception there is Kotak Mahindra Bank.
Yeah. Okay, that's the take on banks. In fact,